outside. We're at the back of the home, which is the east side. And this is the electric meter right here. You're supposed to have 36 inches of clearance in front of this meter so that somebody can work on it and service it. And that's a holly bush too, by the way. So I'm just saying, somebody has a problem. The electric power comes low grade into the house. This is the main service disconnect. Right out here, it's 200 amp service. And right out here, I'm not going to open that panel box because of that guy. Sorry, I'm not. It should be sealed on 3 sides to help prevent moisture infiltration into the wall. Moving alongside in the garage, west, north, northeast corner of the garage. Well, let's just move this gas. Let's pour this gas all over here. What's that all about? This stuff makes fumes. Come on. It's right next to the ground, so the fumes don't get to him. Okay. Enough for the sermons, bud. This is electric service panel. It's pretty nice the way they have it all printed out, and it's pretty well. But it's supposed to have specific information. These little double dash, 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 dash. I get it. It goes to furnace number, it goes to the refrigerator. 13 and 14 both go to the refrigerator. 13 and 14 both go to the furnace. Okay, stove. See? It's supposed to be specific information. Not supposed to be handwritten. AC number 2, number 1, like that. That's not supposed to. No. So it's very, very close. Very Okay, we're supposed to have 17 inches of clearance on each side of the electric load center. Service panel, breaker box, call it what you know. They built these shelves in. There's not enough room to get in here. I'm going to guess that is the U for bonding for the electrical system behind this box here. We're going to guess that. Insufficient storage. I mean, insufficient space, workspace. We only have 4 screws. The middle ones are missing, and they probably left them off because they're going to hit the wires because they got the wrong kind of screws. They're too long. So the screws that would come with the panel, they couldn't use the screws that would come with the panel. Huh. I wonder why. Because we have more than an 1/18 of an inch gap between the panel and the cabinet. That's why. Because that cabinet is set so far back in, you couldn't use the screws that came with the panel. So they had to use these long ones. They didn't want to put the long ones in here on these wires. Huh. More than 1/18 of an inch. And this panel, how do they put it in? They put it in with sheetrock screws. They're fast and tight. I get that. Zip, zip. Come on, Philip. Let's go to the beer store. Doug, man, you're the fastest guy in the shop. I know. I'm getting a raise next week. See, sheetrock screws are fast and tight, but they don't have the same shear strength that nails do. If this cabinet would have been properly nailed into place and this structure would experience something, for example, like a tornado, then this cabinet, this box, breaker box, it would stand a much better chance of staying in place if it had been properly installed instead of rapidly installed with sheetrock screws, drywall screws, gypsum board screws. Call it what you will. Saved by the bell. Going to be sales. Good home. This is Bud. Oh, Kate with Senior Citizens. Okay. Maybe I should have taken that call. So, coming in here, another thing about this cabinet, we haven't even gotten to the wiring yet. It's not so bad. But see all that paint? See how pretty these breakers are? So, the paint just stopped at the breakers? No, that paint is behind the breakers. The manufacturer's, it's probably out of warranty. Manufacturer's warranty says that, you know, no paint, dirt, combustible, anything. The code even says that. The code even says that. What else? Come on, bud. Okay. Now this is a good thing. I know, I complain a lot. This is called a stackable breaker, cheater, or whatever. This cabinet is rated for these. Some home inspectors get excited when they see them. But this is rated for these. Alright? So, now, this is L1 and L2. If this cabinet was installed today, and it wasn't, 5 years ago it was okay, but it should have protective rubber boots on top of these connections. And I'm mentioning it because it's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. This is supposed to be wrapped 4 times with white tape, not 4 times in a row, but spread out 4 times. If you don't know that's the main neutral, you don't belong in this cabinet. I get that. But that's what's supposed to happen. What else is supposed to happen? Okay. See these white wires? Well, these legs, those are hot. Those are hot. Those aren't actual neutrals. Right. This would be a neutral over here. What have we got? Doing good. Just looking. This would be a neutral over here. So these wires, like this, should have more white tape. These should be wrapped with black tape. And if you don't know those are hot, again, you don't belong in this cabinet. You just don't. But there they are, and that's what they're there for. So, those are the rules. Now this is AFCI. I just test for the location in an occupied home. We do not trip those. Is a routine part of an inspection when the home is occupied. There's computer equipment in there, so forth. We just don't go there. So what do we learn? We learned that we have insufficient clearance in front of the meter, and the meter and main disconnect are not sealed. We learned that we have insufficient clearance in front of the main load center, service panel, breaker box. Okay. We learned that the gap is wider than 1/18 of an inch. It compromises the fire block. And we learned that the screws are sheetrock screws, drywall screws, and they don't have the same strength as nails, and they're improperly installed. That's what we learned. We learned that paint was blown in this cabinet even before, it should have never been blown in the cabinet, and even before the breakers were installed. That's what we learned. We learned because the cabinet was installed properly, we weren't able to put screws in the sides. We learned that we don't have enough white tape up here, and we don't have any black tape down there. And that's what we learned. We learned those things.